All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Baharakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out here toiling in this truth. I'm PATHACH AHMATH, GMS Dallas. And I'm just coming back at you with a really quick hit lesson. And I'm just really quick, want to do a quick revisit to Tuesday night's camp, just for the edification. Because the guy that came, there was a guy that was watching, that was listening, and he asked a good question. He actually asked several good questions, which we answered those questions and went in to the scriptures that night. Seemed like he had a little bit of a scoffing spirit on him, but you know, I've seen that guy before. He's come out and he's listened before. But I think what his deal is that he's just a double-minded man. He's and he's unstable in all his ways, as the scriptures say, and he just goes from here to there. And I think he's listening to a lot of different camps, a lot of different doctrines and teachings, and he doesn't have a complete, stable understanding of things. You know what I'm saying? So he asked that night. So you're saying that we are those people that Moses was, basically the Israelites that Moses talked to, and they went into captivity in Egypt and all that. He was saying, so you're saying that we're those people, and we told him, yeah, we're those people, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we went into the scriptures and lined everything up. So I just want to real quick retouch that, and just, for edification of any newcomers and to the faith, any proselytes, so you have an understanding of yes, we are those people. When you deal with, and I'll just get right into it. When you go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which deals with, and we, before camp was over, we actually told the guy to read Deuteronomy 28 1 through 68. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't line up with any other nation of people on the planet. The people over there in the land right now, they're claiming to be Israelis, Jewish, which is nowhere in the Bible. They don't line up with the prophecies of the biblical Israelites, of these people. But we do, so how can we not be the people? So I'm just going to get into it real quick, because when you read in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the first 14 verses, which is based on if we would have hearkened to the Lord, because when you read the first verse, which I'll read in Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt shall hearken, Salakia, diligently unto the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. You know what I'm saying? And that's if we had hearkened. And then when you read the next 13 verses, of course, let me read verse 2. Verse 2, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power. So if we would have listened, we would have got blessings, man. But we did not listen, because there's two parts to it. You got the blessings, which comes with hearkening, which means listen, do the commandments, do my will, do what I tell you to do, and you will receive blessings. And those blessings, he just said it, he will set us on high above all the nations of the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? And blessings is going to overtake us. And then it goes through the blessings. But when you get down to verse 15, this is the second part of it. Deuteronomy 28:15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So that's the second part of it, man. You know what I'm saying? There's one part that if we would have listened and did the commandments, did what we were told, thus saith the Lord, hearkening to his voice, blessings would overtake us. The second part is this right here. If we didn't, then curses were going to overtake us. And we didn't hearken. We didn't listen. So the second part overtook us. The curses that was going to destroy us as a nation, man. And it did, which Before I go into this, let me go here real quick. And I love going here. I go here a lot because it was set up that way. It was set up for us to go through both, to receive both the blessing and the curse. This is Deuteronomy 30:1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. So all these things were set up to come upon us, which I have set before thee. So the Lord set it that way. He set it up that way. You were going to go through both the blessings and the curse. It was set up for you to do so. And thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh Shem Shai thy power hath driven thee. And they're being called to mind right now, man. You know what I'm saying? So as we speak. But the point is, the blessings and the curses were always set up for us to go through. So I'm gonna go back now. So we went through Salakia, and this, and just mind you, for just a quick overlay, Deuteronomy 28:1-14, that represents your heaven, and Deuteronomy 28:15-68 is your hell. That's your heaven and hell that the Bible is speaking about, because 1-14 is rulership, power over the earth, governing the earth, and everything else being underneath you. And 15-68, of course, 1-14 is your blessings, the fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven from above, all those things that when you read in Genesis, the 27th chapter, when you're dealing with the blessings of Jacob and Esau, those things were given by Isaac, our forefather, which us in the know, we know that's Yahweh Shai in an incarnation, man. And that's why he was able to give those blessings. So, but both Jacob and Esau received that same blessing. That's why when you read in Hebrews, the 11th chapter, in verse 20, it says, and Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come, and that's why 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, in verse 9 says what it says. Esau is the end of the world. He's had his rulership. Now we're at the end of it. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You know what I'm saying? This nigga was set up to destroy, and we're set up to build. You know what I'm saying? We're going to rebuild everything. You know what I'm saying? So, which goes into Genesis, the 25th chapter, when it goes into us grabbing the heel, Esau's heel, when Jacob and Esau were being born. Jacob grabbed the heel, represents the pulling down. We were going to, in end times, we were going to pull him down, man, And as a matter of fact, when you read in Isaiah, the 46th chapter, in verse 10, it says, declaring the end from the beginning. And that's exactly what all these things represent, man. End times, he was going to be brought down, and Jacob, which is Esau being the end of the world, and Jacob was going to be brought up, was going to rule. Jacob is that which followeth, So coming back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 15, when you go into those curses, man, let's drop down now to verse 68 and deal with this, because we are those people, man. This Deuteronomy 28:68, and Yahweh Shem Shai shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now we're going to go through that real quick and just break that down real quick, because he couldn't understand that we're actually those people, man. But when you go, first of all, when you read in the curses, we're the only nation of people that fits those curses to a T, man. All the things that it mentions, and the scriptures say are like around 40, the 46th, 45th. 40-something verse, it says that and all these things shall be a sign and a wonder. They were going to be a sign and a wonder upon us. As a matter of fact, I can jump up and read it real quick. It'd be for signs and wonders. Verse was that? Maybe in Salakia. Find this real quick. Yeah, verse 46. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So these things, these curses, were going to be a sign that who these people are, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're the only people that line up with these things that are written here, man. You know what I'm saying? So I've read that. So real quick, I want to jump, because when you read in the first chapter, it's Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness. No other nation of people was in the wilderness with Moses but the Israelites. So the book of Deuteronomy is to the Israelites, man. You know, you got to keep that in mind and have that understanding. You know, so when we jump over to verse 7, let me read this real quick in verse 7, chapter 7 and verse 6. Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai thy power. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So he chose us to be above all these people, man. He chose us from the foundation of the earth. He already chose the nation of Israel, man. And he chose them to be above all the nations and people of the earth. That's why when you read back in Deuteronomy 28 chapter in verse 1, it says if we hearkened, he was going to put us above all the nations. We were always supposed to be. And that's from birth. As a matter of fact, when we read, when we read in Romans, the 9th chapter in verse 11, this is Romans 9 and 11. It reads, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So the election, he chose the nation of Israel, Jacob. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on, man. So he chose Jacob from the foundation of the earth, man. He had already chose the nation of Israel, you know. So going back to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter and verse 6, you know, it said he chose us to be a special people to himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth, which lines up perfectly with Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and verse 1, what we read in verse 1. So now jumping back down to the 68th verse, it says, this is Deuteronomy 28:68, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now we understand, when you have understanding, there is no account of Israel going into the physical land of Egypt again by way of ships, man, cargo slave ships. You know, you don't need a ship to go into Egypt from Israel. You know, we walked into Egypt the first time, when we went into captivity under the Pharaoh and the Egyptians, man. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't need a ship. We walked. So what is this talking about, man? You know what I'm saying? And there's no other, you can read through the whole Bible, and there's no other biblical account of the nation of Israel going into slavery by way of ships. You know? So what is this talking about? You know? And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So let's get this real quick. What is that? Exodus 13 and 3. And it reads, and Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. There it is. So Egypt is synonymous with bondage, which bondage represents slavery, man, because the Israelites were in captivity and in bondage and slavery under the Pharaoh and the Egyptians, man. So when we go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, into slavery, captivity, bondage, again with ships. Now, when you understand, that didn't happen during that time. And this is Moses speaking to the Israelites. We read that in Deuteronomy, the 1st chapter. The book of Deuteronomy is talking to the Israelites, man. You know, we went to 7 and 6. Now we're in 20 and 28, the chapter 28. So all of this is to the Israelites, you know. So he's talking to Israel. There is no other account in the Bible of them going into slavery in Egypt again, and damn sure not by ships. So what is this talking about? Well, when you look around America, because when you read in Revelations, the 11th chapter and verse 8, it reads, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Spiritually, the spiritual Egypt is when the Israelites were going to go into Egypt again with ships. They were going to go not into the physical land of Egypt again, but into the spiritual Egypt by way of ships. The transatlantic slave trade, man. You know, when they came to the western shores, coastline of Africa, you know, where we had fled to during the time of 70 AD with Titus and Vespasian and Domitian, you know, and we fled into the interiors of Africa, you know, different parts of Africa, but primarily on the western coastline, the west coast of Africa. And that's where they came and got us on and put us on those ships. Of course, those Africans, those Hamites, took us into slavery to a separate dark nation of people, you know, Exodus 11:7. You know, the Lord put a difference between, you know, the Egyptians and the Israelites, man. You know, they were Ham and Shem, man. The children of Ham and the descendants of Shem, you know. The children of Ham, the descendants of Ham, put the children or descendants of Shem in captivity. Two dark nations, but two separate nations, you know. And of course, you had those dang so-called Arabs, those Elamites, those Ishmaelites, you know, the Saharan slave trade. They're in it too, man. You know, and in Joel, the 3rd chapter goes into that. But and Esau, you know, those Grecians came to the western coastline, and they put Jake on those slave ships and scattered them throughout the four corners, man. You know. Those horns spoken of in Zechariah, the 1st chapter, man. You know, so the great city here is America. When you look around, you see the Egyptian obelisk up in next to the national monument, sitting in the yard. Then you look on the back of the dollar bill, you see an Egyptian pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. And if you look around, all the things here, beer, makeup, bowling alleys, all these different things that's done here, it goes back to them Hamites, man. Egypt, you know, most of the stuff done here, but of course this kingdom has taken on the spirit of many different other nations and kingdoms. You know, this is going to be the greatest destruction when the Lord destroys this, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all them things wrapped into one, man. You know, so. But the great city, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt, you know, all those spirits are here, man. The spirit of Sodom is here. The spirit of Egypt is here. You know, the spirit of Rome is here. The spirit of Greek is here. Of the Greeks is here. All of them things are here, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is spiritual Egypt. So going back to Deuteronomy now, the 28th chapter, with more understanding. This is Deuteronomy 28:68, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall bring thee into Egypt, spiritual Egypt, again with ships, transatlantic slave trade. It's the only slave trade by way of ships, man, on the planet, period. How can we not be those people, man? You know? And the scriptures even speak of, when you read in the 11th, let me get it, in Isaiah, the 11th chapter, there's going to be a second gathering. Because there will be a second Exodus pursuant to Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, and Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter. So it all lines up, man. Again, Deuteronomy 28:68, going into Egypt again with ships lines up perfectly with what I'm about to read here in Isaiah, the 11th chapter. And when you read Jeremiah 16 and Jeremiah 23, a second Exodus, that lines up perfectly with that again by way of slave ships, man. This is Isaiah 11, and I'm going to just get to the point, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall set his hand again, just like it says in Deuteronomy. We went into slavery again. He's going to set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people, because we've been scattered by way of slavery pursuant to what I'm reading now in Deuteronomy 28:68, man. It says, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt. Boom. America. Spiritual Egypt is what this is talking about, not the physical land of Egypt. You know, although we've been scattered everywhere. Maybe some Jakes in the actual physical land of Egypt, but this is primarily talking about here in America. and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea, man. So Jacob's going to come looking like these other nations, man, because we've been scattered among all the other nations, you know. But the point is that second gathering, because we got scattered by way of that second slavery into Egypt, man. Again, what I'm reading right here in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and verse 68. So I'll go back, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahweh Shemashai shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. He spoke by the mouth of Moses, you know. And today he's speaking by way of the prophets, the servants, all these men throughout the four corners of the earth, beginning and starting with Apostle Tahar on down. If you can receive that, those are the true leaders of the nation of Israel. And he's speaking by way of these men in these times today. You know, my elder here, Yashawamba, Ariala, you know, Elder Yatazak, Elder Arianazar here in Dallas. And you got other elders throughout the four corners of the earth, you know. Those are the mouthpieces, and those men that are under them, you know, that have learned from them and from the apostles and go out and teach and do these lessons like this one. You know, those are the men of the Lord, man. That's how the Lord speaks. So by the way whereof I spake unto thee, the mouth of the prophets, thou shalt see it no more again. Moses told him, you weren't going to see your land no more. That's what we weren't going to see. And we haven't. We've been scattered. We haven't been back to the land. We're going to go back to the land by way of deliverance out of America, Babylon, you know, and get placed back in the land. Isaiah 14 and 1, man. Not by the Balfour Declaration like those fakes in the land today, man. You know, that's not prophecy. And there, here in America and all the places we've been scattered, but primarily here in America, ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. That same bondage, Egypt, slavery, captivity, you know, slave, captive men and women. And no man shall buy you. And that word buy means to redeem or save, man. And of course, we, you know, they've tried it through the different various religions that they believe in. You had Wall Street, Black Wall Street. That shit got blew off the map. The Lord has showed you that you're not going to save yourself. You know what I'm saying? You had the Black Panther Party. You had Martin Luther King. You had Lucifer Queen. You had Malcolm X. You even got today the new Black Panther Party. None of that. You got these black so-called militia groups. None of that crap is going to work, man. It's all carnal. It's not going to work. The Lord already told you, and I'm reading it right here. And this, up until this point, this has stood firm and true. It's not going to go anywhere until Yahushua returns to deliver that remnant, the elect, and 1/3. Hey, you all these efforts are for naught, man. You know. And no man shall buy you. So and no man is going to redeem. You're not going to save yourself, man. Yahushua is our only salvation and savior, man. You know, his name, he, the deliverer, man. Yahi Washai, the deliverer. Or Shalakia. Ha is the thee. Yah the ha. Salakia. Yahi. I'm jacking this up. Salakia, bear with me. Yahi, ha, the, Washai, deliverer. He, the deliverer. So, Salakia for that. But, yeah, so that's when we're going to be delivered, man. No other way, man. But yeah, I just wanted to go through that real quick and give a little bit better understanding, because the brother asked that question that night at camp. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, when we out here to this night right here, and you know, so I just want to kind of go into that a little bit and give a little bit better understanding for any newcomers that may not have a good understanding on that. So hopefully that helped, and hopefully it was edifying. So with that, giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect, the house of David, the Bayath, Shal Dawadah, Shalom.